Hey, my name's Lee, and I just wanted to take a moment to introduce myself and my experience in the tiny home industry. Tiny homes for me have been the best way to have a very affordable and flexible lifestyle. Yet when I started my journey over a decade ago, there was no zoning regulations addressing tiny homes, there were no building code addressing tiny homes, so I had to figure it all out on my own. I was living in Washington, D.C. I decided to build my own tiny house on wheels to have an affordable home there. Not only that, I decided to start a community in the middle of the nation's capital. Because of this, I started getting contacted by people around the country, kind of quickly became known as the tiny house zoning expert. Not only within the US, but I also got contacted by people as far away as Singapore, Germany, and Brazil, asking me how I did it. So I started teaching workshops. And then I started consulting with cities to teach them about the importance of this type of affordable housing and what they could do within their zoning to allow tiny homes, both on foundation and on wheels. Then I started speaking at conferences and festivals. And so for 10 years, I've been educating about the benefits of tiny homes. And not only have I lived in my tiny home on wheels in a community, in a backyard, rented it out on my own property, I have also bought a van and converted it to a camper van so I could live in it while teaching my workshops. Then during the pandemic, I wanted to live safely with friends on a piece of property, so I bought a glamping tent to do that. And I'm now currently working with a container build company to buy a container home that I may place permanently on a piece of land. So not only do I personally have experience with all the different types of tiny homes, the zoning regulations, the building code that applies to each one, the certification processes, I also have experience working with thousands of others on these topics across the country. Now, 10 years in, I still get asked the same question, but where can I place one? What building code, what zoning code applies to my situation? And unfortunately, because zoning changes jurisdiction by jurisdiction, I can't give you a one-size-fits-all answer. That's why I had to create this course. I wanted to teach you how to be able to look for land that you might rent or buy, how to be able to tell what your property will allow, how to know which building code, and we've got new building code actually for tiny homes. We've got new certification programs for tiny homes on wheels, RVs, how you might know what building code applies, what zoning means, how to do that research, how to set up your property safely, the legalities of renting someone else's space or renting out a tiny home on your property. So before you go and spend upwards of $50,000 to buy a tiny home, make sure to take this course so you can make sure you're doing so safely and legally. And I look forward to sharing more about my experience and all the ways that you can get started with a very affordable and flexible lifestyle in the course. I'll see you there.